Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be painting Kill Team terrain from start to finish. But first of all I want to say a huge thank you to Goblin Gaming who sent me the Kill Team box set out for review. I have a very special link in the description box below, and I'll also put this link in the comments field. This link greatly helps my YouTube channel every time you purchase something from Goblin Gaming using the link. So it would be a great help to me guys, is if you do purchase items from Goblin Gaming, you use that link. I also want to thank my Patreon supporters. I've had a few new Patreon supporters recently, so thank you to each and every one of you that are pledging your support. If you do want to help support my channel, as I don't put adverts on my new videos, head on over to my Patreon channel and you can pledge your support and find out more information about my Patreon. Okay guys, this is going to be a long video as always, so go grab yourselves a nice hot drink, or maybe in this ridiculous heat we're having in the UK, an ice cold beer, and we'll get started with a tutorial. I'll start off by priming the miniature using Alclad 2's Lacquer Primer Grey. It's important to note that with lacquer primers guys, you have a good quality airbrush with solvent proof packing seals, and also make sure that you're very well ventilated whilst spraying this hot liquid, as it's very harmful if inhaled. Spraying here at about 20 psi, and I'm using a really wide spray pattern, so I'm pulling really far back on the trigger to paint the sceneries primer layer really quickly. You can see what the terrain looks like once it's all been primed. After allowing the primer to dry for a few hours, I come back in with Vallejo Game Air Bone White. Here I'm painting the bone white colour, and as you can see it's going down really smoothly. I've sped up the footage here guys because it gets a bit boring painting one colour for any length of time, but as you can see the base colour of the bone white goes down really smoothly, priming at about 20 psi and at 2 to 3 inches away from the model. And here you can see what the miniature looks like when it's all been painted in the Vallejo Game Air Bone White colour. Now we're going to add some shade all to the terrain. I'm going to be using the Army Painter's Soft Tone, which is the equivalent of Games Workshop's Seraph Sepia. Now I place the soft tone in the airbrush cup and I add 1 part water to 3 parts soft tone, but you can use Games Workshop Seraph Sepia if you have that instead. And I just airbrush it all along the model, and I'm not worried if it pulls too much, as all of the shade that this terrain piece will receive is going to look really cool and grubby up and make that stone look really ancient and old. Games Workshop's Screaming Skull is going to be dry brushed onto the miniature using a Games Workshop large dry brush. I highly recommend purchasing this brush if you're going to be painting terrain, guys, as it's got the perfect bristles for dry brushing and it's very hard wearing. My last one I had for about 4 or 5 years until I've actually misplaced it. It was still in good working order, but yeah, so highly recommend Games Workshop's large dry brush for large vehicles or terrain. I don't show it on camera, but I remove most of the paint that I've dipped the brush in on some kitchen roll that you might just see me using just off camera there. But basically you want to remove most of the excess paint and then you slightly brush over all of the details, and all the raised surfaces will catch using that Screaming Skull colour from Games Workshop. Games Workshop's layer paint white scar is also going to be dry brushed onto the ruins. The reason that we're using 2 different colours is to get a contrast between the white scar and also the skull, Screaming Skull. Here I'm being very naughty, guys, and what I mean by that is I've applied the paint directly to the top surface of the terrain piece, as if it was a palette to save time. Now, it's ridiculously hot in the UK at the moment, and especially more so in my loft, so I've sped up the painting process for myself as much as I possibly could so I could get out of the baking hot heat. So here I'm just using Vallejo Game Air Somber Grey, and I'm placing it all down on those slabs that are on top of the building. I placed 2 parts Somber Grey to 1 part Wolf Grey in my airbrush cup, and then I'll come back in and airbrush towards the centre of each of those tiles. Now I'm dry brushing using Vallejo Game Air Wolf Grey Neat, and it's picking up all of those little rivet details on the edges of those slabs. Now it's time to pick out some of the details on the terrain using Dark Star's Molten Metal Black and Bronze. I really like the Dark Star Molten Metal paint, but you can use Games Workshop's equivalent bronze if you don't have these paints. But basically I'm using a size 3 Winsor & Newton Series 7 brush to really speed up the process. By using a large brush, you're able to get a lot more paint down on the terrain than you would with a smaller brush. So sometimes having a large brush to work on large areas really does save time, guys. Games Workshop Seraph Sepia is going to be washed onto all of the black and bronze. And here you can see what the terrain looks like with all the black and bronze painted onto it. After letting the Seraph Sepia thoroughly dry, I come back in with the Army Painter's Weapon Bronze and I'm going to dry brush it onto all of the black and bronzed areas. Nickel Oxide is a technical paint from Games Workshop that leaves a fantastic oxidization effect onto bronze. Now you have to be really careful with this stuff, guys, because as amazing as it looks, if you place too much on, it can spoil the look of the miniature. So sometimes less is more, and this is definitely the case with Nickel Oxide. And here we have our finished painted terrain piece. Now, I think the Kill Team box set is phenomenal value for money, guys. I really do. And if you actually purchase it from Goblin Gaming, instead of paying £80, which you would do from Games Workshop, you can get it for just £64, which is a massive saving. And not only that, guys, I know I'm sponsored by Goblin Gaming, but the truth is the truth, and Goblin Gaming are #1 rated gaming web store there is, with a whopping score of 9.9 out of 10 on Trustpilot. So if you haven't used Goblin Gaming before, guys, give them a chance and see what everyone else is raving about. Don't forget to check the link in the description box below and also the comments field. Please hit the like button if you've enjoyed this tutorial. I really appreciate it. And once again, thank you so much to all my Patreon supporters. Okay guys, I think that's it for this video. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch, and I'll catch you in the next one.